Okay, here's some shocking news. Suzuki has a brand new, all new, not slightly tweaked, not slightly updated, all new motorcycle. It's this, the V-Strom 800DE, the Dual Explorer they're calling it. As the name suggests, it's an adventure bike, and because it's got a 21-inch front wheel and some long travel suspension, it's been designed to do some light off-roading as well. It's powered by a 776cc parallel twin, brand new engine making 84 horsepower, weighs 230 kilos. It's designed to be a super versatile, go anywhere, anytime type of bike. I'm here in Sardinia to ride it on-road and off-road to see what it's made of. It costs 10,665 quid. It'll be in the shops in the spring, and hopefully I'll be able to tell you a lot more about it after this ride, and when I've done that I'll let you know what I think. Right, what a day. We've only done about 90 miles, but do you know what? I liked this bike from mile one. Okay, it's my sort of bike because it's easy, it's manageable, it's versatile. I can just imagine it doing a million things and doing them all really well. Look, it was an important bike to get right for Suzuki, and I think they've done just that. Where the 1050 falls down a little because it's a bit old and a bit unfashionable and dated now, this is new and exciting and appealing. I've had a great day on it. Right, I'm in a great place to ride a bike, Sardinia. The weather's been tops, the roads have been amazing, but this has played a very big part in the enjoyment. Where can we start? It's easy. Apart from the seat height being a bit too tall for a shorty like me, I didn't really have any problems with it at all. But once you get underway, you really appreciate this new motor. It's a gem. Okay, it only makes about 80 odd horsepower, but it's super usable, super torquey, pulls really strongly in the big gears. Always seems to have that punch and response and give you what you want. It's got a light, agile feel to it, and despite the fact it's got a 21-inch front wheel, on some of the really tight, twisty stuff, it didn't feel vague. I could still sort of push quite hard and feel quite confident. Good brakes. Suspension definitely needs a big score. Long travel, about 220mm each end. There's a lot of travel when you get on the brakes and get under power, but it's all quite nicely controlled. And I like the fact that it allows you to pitch weight onto the appropriate tyre when you're either braking or accelerating. Good ground clearance. I think versatility is a massive strong point. It's got a really comfy riding position. The seat's ace. Okay, I've only done 85 miles on it, but I get the impression even if I rode it all the way home, I'd still be comfy when I got to the end of it. The 20-litre tank's going to give a good 250 mile range. This screen is a bit too short for my liking, but with a sort of smooth engine and very comfortable riding position, as I say, it's just one of these bikes that invites you to ride it. I was a bit cheesed off when the day came to an end. Now, the off-road ability of this bike. I'm not a fan of adventure bikes going off-road. I like to do it a bit more seriously on enduro bikes in more challenging terrain. But on the stuff that we tried today, and it was fairly easy bar a certain section, it performed pretty well. Look, it's a big, heavy bike that you do not want to fall off. For starters, it'll be a pig to pick up, and you'll probably cause a lot of damage. But if you do what we did today and explore the sort of backwaters of Sardinia, I think you can expect, as we got, a pretty good result. And it just adds to the sort of extra capability and the massive capability that this bike's got. Just a quick word on the equipment that this bike's got. It's got a nice 5-inch TFT dash. There's a little socket to power your phone in. It's got 4 levels of traction control. You've got 3 levels of power, which just alter the throttle response, and you've got 3 levels of ABS, including, and this is very important for off-road use, switching it off on the rear altogether. Look, it heralds a new chapter for Suzuki. It's a new bike and it's important that it does well. I think it's a looker. I think that there's so much about it actually to praise that I really expect it to be a winner. It certainly deserves to be. Okay, a bonus part 2 to this test. I've done another day on it now. We've done 120 miles to go with the 80 odd yesterday. And one thing that I've been especially impressed with is the engine. I think it's the very best of a number of good features and notable features, but it's just the torque. It'll pull from about 40 mile an hour in top. You just give it full beans and it just pulls cleanly and takes you to its top speed. This is not a bike that you need to change gear on very often at all. You don't need to consider revs or gears especially. You just whack the throttle open. It just makes it a really relaxing bike to ride, even when you're getting a move on. I'm particularly struck by the 21-inch front wheel today as well. There are times when you don't really think that it's got a wheel of that size on it. It might look a really skinny tyre, but the grip is pretty good and the feel and feedback is way better than you'd expect from a 21-inch front wheel. Another thing to praise is the handling. This bike weighs 230 kilos ready to go, but you would not guess that. Just so easy to go deep into corners, slab it on its side, go again. Just very, very agile, very, very easy to boss about. Did some more off-road on it today. I think it's important to realise that if you really want to make a bit more solid progress, you've probably got to change the tyres. These things are okay, but if you want to do it a bit more seriously, you definitely need to change the front at least to a more aggressive type of tyre. It just needs to bite a bit more readily and a bit more securely. Bar the screen, and I'm not really going to complain deeply about that, there's nothing I don't like about this bike. I'm going to ask Suzuki GB if I can have one for a year as a long-term test bike. I think we did enough time and miles on it over the last 2 days to tell you everything I can without actually owning it or spending a bit of time on it back in the UK. But I predict that I'll really sort of fall for it. It's not a super exciting bike, it doesn't win you over instantly, but you definitely warm to it. It becomes a real mate and something you can depend on to do all manner of things. It is a bloody good bike. It's the first time Suzuki's made an all-new bike for many, many years, but this is going to put them right back in the picture, I reckon.